So for bacteria, there's endotoxin and exotoxin. For endotoxin, it is from the outer membrane, which is composed of a lipopolysaccharide, and they're only present in the gram-negative bacteria. So if you look closely into the bacteria's cell wall over here, we have this is inside of the cell wall. Cell. We have the inner membrane, and then the petroglycan. And then we have this outer membrane. And the outer membrane, we have this thing called lipid A, which is immunogenic, which means it activates our immune system, such as macrophage and complement system, and protein called tissue factor, or tissue factor 3, which plays a role in coagulations. Also, besides the lipid A, we have this core polysaccharide, and then there's some sort of slime, as we talked about it briefly, about whether it's capsule or a slime layer. And then on this tail, we have this also works. This is called O antigen, and this O antigen is antigenic, which means it activates the antibodies. So going back to our lipid A's immunogenic effects, we said it activates macrophage. So macrophage has like CD14 and TL toll-like receptor 4, for example, and they release once they see this receptor combine with different antigen such as lipid A, release IL-1 and 6 and TNF-alpha and nitric oxide. And TNF-alpha and IL-1 and interleukin-1 and interleukin-6 causes fever, and TNF-alpha and nitric oxide cause vasodilation, which means increase in size of different these vessels and increase in the permeability of capillaries, which works to decreases the blood pressure as there's bigger volume spaces from vasodilation, and the liquid, we are losing the fluid as it's getting more permeable. And this causes the low blood pressure causes multi-system organ failures. And going back, and we have this, so we talked about macrophage, and then we also lipid A activates the complement system in our blood. So once we see the bacteria, our complement system works to produce C3A and C5A. And C3A increases histamine, and the increase in histamine can cause lowering in blood pressure, which goes back to the multi-system organ failure, or histamine increase can cause edema. And as the C5A, this makes the, what is it called? Neutrophil angry and activates and that causes inflammation reaction. And tissue factor is we often known as factor 3 causes release F7 and F10. They turn into F10, and then it increases the thrombin, and then it causes to release more fibrin, and that causes blood clot. And those are endotoxins. So exotoxin is something that's both present not only in just gram-negative, but also in positive as well, and excreted proteins from bacteria. So there's type 1, 2, 3. And type 1 is a super antigen. So we've learned it in immunology about this antigen-presenting cells and T cells interaction, the T cell interactions. Antigen-presenting cells is like macrophage, B cells, and like dendritic cells. And this super antigen super amplifies this T cell interaction. And the T cell interaction, after that, T cell releases a lot of cytokines, and that causes inflammations, and it makes the inflammation even worse. And that's how the type 1 super antigen detection works. And for example, it's as SARS. We have this exotoxins are type 2, which directly affect on like cells. Like, so for example, they drill holes, and they can cause different like osmosis, so the pH level may not work, or different ions can go back and forth, salt, etc. And type 3 is the most common one. They go inside the cells either through getting either this endotoxin getting receptive by binding with the receptor on the cells, or the bacteria itself injecting into the cells through injectosome, this little pipe. And they're like most common ones. For instance, so it's E. coli and V. cholera use this method.